always wanted to adopt a dog or a cat, have you already started doing your research into breeders or which pet stores carry animals that they have up for sale? I can give you a better option to coming into ownership of an animal. I would recommend rescuing. As someone who has volunteered at many different rescues, I can 100% say that adopting an animal from a shelter is a much more fulfilling way to come into ownership of an animal. And firstly, I want to talk about why it's so good to own an animal. They're great because they help with your depression, they make you laugh, they make you exercise, they're a great distraction and a really good companion for when you're feeling down. And then also they're a great conversation piece. You know, if you're in an awkward situation, well, here's my dog. Want to see a picture of my dog? I do that all the time. No, here's my cat. And why I think you should rescue is because, like a conversation piece, a lot of people rally around shelters. So it's another great way to connect to people is going through a shelter because they hold a bunch of fundraising opportunities, and you can bring that animal back and show how well he's doing in his new home. And why you should adopt from a shelter is because they already come vetted, so they are 100% A-OK. They have all their vaccines, they've been checked out for all sorts of different diseases, and if they have a current disease, they'll let you know, so there's no surprise when you get home, or later down the line even. With adopting from a shelter, you're not only saving one animal's life, you're saving two, because you're pulling one dog out of the kennel so they can bring in another dog, or a cat even. And they come microchipped, so I think it's a recent thing, but I adopted my cat over here, who I'll use as a visual aid in a moment, but we adopted him, and he's already microchipped and registered to me. I have to pay $45 to get my dog, my other animal, microchipped, so I haven't done it yet, but it's just one of the great things that shelters do, and it's a humanitarian cause. It'll make you feel good saving a life, saving multiple lives, and the fee that you pay to adopt your animal is cheaper than from a pet store or a breeder, but it's also going back into the shelter so they can buy food or pay vet bills for another animal. And right now, in this season, spring and summer, is a really prevalent issue of kitty season. There are so many cats right now who are just out on the streets feral, and they're having babies, and they're making a bigger population. And my cat here, Apollo, he was from kitty season in the spring and summer. He is 6 months old now. We adopted him in September, and he came from the SPCA. He had a respiratory infection. They fixed him up. I didn't have to pay a dime for it. And he's healthy as can be, and getting him off the streets is a way to downsize the feral population. He's neutered now, so even if he were to get outside, he won't be off making more babies. And this past year alone, the SPCA adopted out over 200 kittens from kitten season. And that they could adopt out that many means they could bring in so many more and get them all off the streets. So why do you want to go to a breeder to get a kitten when you can just stop by your local shelter? Because not just the SPCA has kittens, but the animal control will have kittens. Everywhere's gonna have kittens, so why spend $500 on a kitten when it's $70 at your local shelter? It's just smarter financially smarter, to go with the shelter. A cat's a cat. Unless you're showing them, which most people don't buy animals to have as show pets. Another issue as to why you should adopt dogs from shelters is because of puppy mills. When you buy a dog from a pet store, you're supporting a puppy mill. You're bringing up the demand for puppy mills, which keep dogs in deplorable situations. They're kept in small wire crates that hurt their paws and can cause leg deformities, and they're bred for quantity, not quality. So they're genetically going to be deficient and later down in their lives come across hereditary issues like kidney disease, or they could have cancer, they could develop cancer, or vision issues, hearing issues, cataracts, that could all be avoided when you don't support puppy mills and you go to a shelter, because dogs coming out of shelters are more than likely mixed animals. That's okay because they have a wider gene pool, which means they aren't going to have issues when they age 5 years down the road. They won't have hereditary issues like animals from puppy mills, and they'll be able to stay around longer. They'll live with you longer. And there are many organizations out there. So if you want a specific breed, go to your computer and research rescues that just rescue a certain breed. You want to rescue a Great Dane? There are shelters for that. You want just a German Shepherd? There are shelters that adopt out just German Shepherds. So it's not like your choices are limited. And they still come vetted and vaccinated, and they still come with microchips. And you're still paying half the cost. Adopting from a breeder a dog is going to cost you anywhere from $600 to $1,000, depending on the dog that you want. At most, it'll be $100 to $120 from any shelter, and you'll be getting a good quality animal. And again, by taking that animal out of the shelter, you're providing more space for a new one. The Humane Society and the SPCA are two of the most well-known shelters and are the most active. And on their websites, they have so much information about why you should rescue as well, and how you're helping by rescuing. So I would advise looking at those if you're still on the fence about rescuing. But I believe that it'll make you feel better as a person to rescue. Thank you.